I'm Maruno, and in today's video, I want to talk about giving up on logic, which is probably like sounds horrible. Like I know most people, I think most people are fairly logical about like what they think about, like the way they think. Like people have ideas about the way their life should go at least. Like I guess the most typical would be like, you go through your schooling, and you go all the way up to college, you graduate. Once you graduate, then you get your degree in whatever, then you get your job in whatever, and that whatever the job that you get wherever, that thing's supposed to like pay you a good salary, and then you use that salary to sort of like build your family and your life and take care of everyone, and you have a nice savings plan, and then you just die after that, I guess. And it looks like that. And then when you have that idea of the way it should be like that, you think logically this is the order, right? So then you start living your life according to the order. And it does happen in smaller ways. Obviously that's not the only thing people are focused on. Like people are focused on all type of random crap. But you might have a specific cause, like you might be like vegan because you are like logically inclined. You feel like a logical obligation to not eat animals. So you think that like because humans can survive without eating meat, that they shouldn't eat meat. So then you just stop eating meat, and then you encourage everyone else to stop doing that because it's logical. You might have a logical structure to your day. You might have an order to your day. You wake up, you brush your teeth, take a shower, you get dressed, you go to work, you come back from work, then you do your whatever fucking activities you do all in order. You might have a to-do list. And so logic what it ends up doing is it ends up binding us. So it ends up caging your consciousness into a should and ought type of thing, right? And that goes incredibly contrary to what's actually happening. So what you actually are is the situation of life. And the situation of life is not logical at all. The situation of life is very chaotic. This thing is just happening. It's doing whatever it feels like. It's not asking anybody for permission. There is no authority. There is no rules and regulations. It's just the situation is just happening. And so what ends up happening is that human beings, we have this ability that we can know that we know. And so since we know that we know, we think we can use that ability to put like sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Put like sort of like expectations on our knowing. So we think things ought to be or should be a certain way because we see the way that things are happening. So we think we should be doing things in order, as if because we want to put our lives on track. We want to achieve our goals, and but the thing is, like the big thing, the universe has no goals. It just is, and you are that thing. So there's no goal for you. You just are. And so accepting that is probably like the first step of getting out of logic. So realizing that you're going to have to like come to terms with your own death. Realize that at some point the pattern that you are, the organism that you are is going to stop. But don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of it. Realize that the thing that you are is much bigger than you actually can understand with knowledge. The thing that you are is there before knowledge. Before you had any knowledge, you were that thing. When you were a baby and you had no words for whatever you were doing, you knew you were still doing it. Like you're breathing right now, but you don't have knowledge about how you're breathing. You just kind of just like know that. It's a type of knowledge that is without like words, so your heartbeat, you actually have to just trust that. Like you actually have to just trust your heartbeat. You can't command your heart to keep going or to stop just by like sheer will and determination and thoughts. You can't actually just do that. So understand that is what you are. Like you're this thing that's just kind of like it just is what it is. And funnily enough, when you take away all of your logic and expectations and like ideas about the way things should be, it really makes room for the way things actually are. So there's no better feeling than being yourself. Anytime humans, this is like why when you're like a kid, you want to like always rebel about like whatever your parents tell you. Your parents give you instruction and you're like, no. You're saying no because you just want to say, like, you're just like, no, I don't want to do that because I want to make my own decisions. You know, your parents tell you not to eat a cookie before dinner and you just fucking do it because you're like, I'm doing what I want to do, you know? And then so that rebellion is like, you're like, no, I know what I want to do, you know, like I feel what I want to do. And so but what happens is it gets stifled and repressed. Like your parents end up, you end up getting like spanked, or you get punished, like you get put in a corner on timeout, and then you cry, and then now you're traumatized. Now you have all this trauma that you're carrying with your identity now. But that's kind of like beside the point. The point is that there is a spontaneous, magical you. That thing is doing everything. And when you get in tune with that, it's like being what you're meant to be. When you die, like you realize that there is no like special little me in here that's gonna die, that the thing just continues. So this sensation of I is always gonna be there. Like all conscious beings have that feeling of being I, and I know it feels like you are a special little I, but all I's are a special little I. Like your mom doesn't feel any less special than you feel, but she is I also. Like she's the thing. Like she's also the thing. Like there's nothing to fear. Like there's no you that's there to lose anything. And so you can give up all these things, all these logical ideas that are rooted in like expectation and like rooted in like your fear of death, or like rooted in oughts and shoulds and your logical trappings. Because when you trap yourself, you're trapped. Like how are you going to be free to express if you're trapped? And what happens is you end up like trying to trap other people in your trap, instead of allowing the universe to be what it wants to be. Other people are the universe. Other people want to express themselves. They don't want to be stifled. They don't want to be told what to do. Like you're not their parent. So but what happens, but when you think there's a you in there that's supposed to be commanding you, that's also like you giving authority to something imaginary. So all authorities that you accept in this life are you deciding like, I'm giving my authority to that thing, So when you give your authority to logic, it's still the same chaotic, spontaneous you that's like, I'm going to be logical, I'm going to be stoic, and I'm going to be vegan, and I'm going to be this and this and this. And you're just building an identity on a hallucination. So what I'm calling you to do right now is to come back to what you truly are. Come back to this spontaneous, free, infinite, eternal thing that you are. Because what else can you really do? You can either embrace that, or you can just confuse yourself the whole time, and then when you get old, have a bunch of regrets. Like I think that the stuff that I talk about like on my channel and in general, most people don't really start thinking about this stuff until they're super old, and then they have to go like see like a guru to tell them like all this information, because it's like you end up living your whole experience under all this confusion and delusion and expectation, and then you get to the end and you realize like it was all wasted. Like you wasted a whole bunch of time. Like either maybe you wasted a whole bunch of time thinking that you needed to like grind your life away making money, or you wasted your whole life thinking that you need a significant other to complete you. So then you went around chasing all this, like you're like a hopeless romantic, or like maybe you felt like you needed a drug or something. Like you just felt like you were addicted to crack, and you just like, I just need crack, So you ended up wasting your whole. I don't know how many crackheads live to be in their 80s, but like I think you kind of get the point of what I'm saying. Like you're seeking for an identity. You're constantly seeking something outside yourself to complete yourself without just all you have to do is just really just notice, oh, like, I already am everything. I'm the universe. Like, this is it, baby. Like, it ain't going nowhere. It's like there's no goals. It just is what it is. And what is it doing? It's just expressing. Like, it's just expressing itself. So your role in this is to express yourself to your full potential. You want to express yourself as it's meant to be without stifling yourself or putting limits or expectations on yourself. And you have to just come back and understand that nothingness is the background of all of this. Understand death is the background of life, and rest in that information. And when you rest in that information, without fail, something comes out of it. Like, and it just needs to be like that. It's such an interesting but beautiful mystery that, like, there is nothing and then there is just this something here, all of this, right? And they absolutely rest on the backs of each other. And so in the meantime, while we're here, what we're meant to do, if there is a meaning, is to just express ourselves and do what we really feel we're meant to do, you know? Not what somebody else told us we should do, not what somebody else, not what society expects us to be. Like, just following your truth all the way to the end, in sickness and in health, rich and for poor. Like, marry your truth, be married to your truth, abide in it without judging yourself or attending to the judgments of other people. Just be you and be free. And it's funny that I'm like saying be free, but it's just, unfortunately, the vast majority of people, especially like in America, we are bound. We've put ourselves in mind traps. And so all I'm really calling for you to do is to notice the trap. Notice that you put yourself in a cage and just like free yourself, because no one else can do it. You have to realize that it's all in you. Everything that you need is always within you. So that's about it. Logic is something that is limiting. It's something that is limiting. It's not right. It's something that it will put your experience in a box. So just understand that, and don't take my word for it. Feel it. If you currently are living under certain principles of logic or expectations that you have for your life, how do you feel about that? Think about what you are like. Think about the deepest, most fundamental questions that you can think of, and consider them, and truly consider them without settling, without just like, and without giving up. Just think about it. Who am I? What am I? Like, if there's no who, then what? What is this? Where am I? What's happening? What's going on right now? Like, what? Like, stop and consider. Like, observe. What is this? What's happening? Get in touch with that, because what's happening is you. You're what's happening. So that's about it. So just pay attention to yourself, trust yourself, and follow yourself. You are your own authority. And you can just throw logic out the window. So have a nice life. Peace.